Hey everyone, Lori Lothian and Lunatic Astrology. I have a short and sweet message about this Thursday, July the 25th, and the Mars-Jupiter trine. And I'm going to bring something into this that I don't hear other people talking about, which is why I'm actually bothering to do this video today. I want to talk about surrender. I want to talk about divine will, my will, thy will, because there's something going on here in the collective that needs to be addressed. We get caught up in this idea of what it is that can happen for us. It's so good because somehow the gods are smiling down on us or how we're cursed because they're not. And yet there is no separation ultimately between what we are and what the divine really is. And so when we have this connection, this possible within our own lives between the will of the divine and the will of oneself, it becomes kind of a mashup, like a merger, a kind of like real, indistinguishable cauldron of not thy will as my will, but our will as one will. So I'm writing a book right now called The Coming Age of Miracles, and a lot of this is discussed in that book, which I'll share more about once it's completed and it's ready to be shared with the world. But as I get ready for this July the 25th, myself, Mars in a 14-degree aspect to Jupiter at 14 degrees. This is Mars in Leo, by the way, conjunct Juno, the asteroid for partnership. So if anybody out there is like looking for a soulmate or a life partner or a business partner on this Thursday, thy will, my will, mashup, divine will could bring into your awareness the possibility for either of those outcomes. So anyway, we're back to this fiery energy of this sort of Mars and Leo shining or casting its light and its testimony looking over at Jupiter in Sagittarius. Now Jupiter is retrograde, so Jupiter doesn't have all his mojo. Jupiter is kind of like ruminating and thinking about things. Jupiter, Zeus, god of Mount Olympus, is kind of back in the library. He's pondering the meaning of life instead of being on his throne. But that kind of reflection and introspection that Jupiter is capable of can bring great goodness and treasures. So in your own life, this movement of Jupiter through Sagittarius in a apparently backward direction from our perspective on Earth means that something good that's just about to happen in your life when Jupiter goes direct in mid-August, I think it's August 11th or 12th, is being fine-tuned and pondered and really like kind of it's as if the Mount of God of Mount Olympus, Zeus, is in the back with his advisors consulting, like, really, are you sure? Is that what we want to do? I really want to go forward and give blessings and expansion and growth and good luck and beneficence to all that I touch. Let me make sure that old adage, be careful what you wish for. Let me be sure that the mortal who's wishing for what he thinks he wants or she wants is really carefully wishing truly to align the mortal will with divine will, which in the end are one will. Okay, so without getting too philosophical, so what do I suggest you do on Thursday? I think you should be actually, or I'm going to give this advice to myself, receiving the benefits and blessings that are about to unfold from this particular trine in the sky, which is and also to be willing to question what you think you want for yourself, and to do a bit of, I drew this card before this video, surrender. Oh, does that show up as surrender? A bit of surrender for yourself, because I realize that we all think we know what we want, but sometimes we should go, dear God, what do I really want? Do I want what I need, or do I want what I should have, or do I want what will bring greater glory to myself and the collective? Ask about the genesis of your wants. Ask about where they come from. Do I want this because I need it? Someone asked me recently about my needs, and I said, my needs are simple. I need food, shelter. That's a need. A want is another whole category. And a divine want is when my own personal desire is surrendered actively to the divine, and they unfold together as one. There's no distinction, because what I want, the divine wants for me, and what the divine wants for me, I want. And how do I know that I've landed there? Joy, delight, okay? I mean, it's a sense of wonderment. It's a sense of exhilaration. I'll give you an example. I'm doing astrology readings full time. My business is crazy busy. It's word of mouth only. I don't really advertise anymore. I only started going full time as an astrologer in earnest probably this 2019, but I began doing it, dabbling back into it about 2 years ago. Why was I resisting this call after 25, 30 years of studying astrology and practicing it on and off? It's because my mind was saying it's not important enough, it's not enlightened enough, because I am the awakened dreamer, check my blog below. But no, instead, I was putting some kind of like mentalization on it, and now I'm so happy, so delighted, and so full of wonderment to be chopping wood and carrying water as an astrologer for people. And because I love what I do, and because I'm in divine flow, my clients come to me effortlessly, like water flowing down a downhill, down a stream. I don't need to find clients. I'm almost kind of trying to figure out how to space people out, you know? So for you on Thursday, the 25th of July, at the time on this little baby of a chart here, I like to print things out, is in Eastern Standard Time, roughly around 8:47 a.m. in the morning, when we have that perfect trine of Mars and Jupiter, but it will go before that by a day and after a day in terms of potency. Be willing to surrender and ask, what do I actually want that is in alignment with what the divine wants for me, so that my life is filled with grace and ease and flow and joy. And does not mean bad things don't happen to you, but it means in addition to life, parking tickets, calamity, people we love dying, life just happens. You navigate the waters of life just happening with a sense of almost floating on it all, and a sense of being guided. Today, in Montreal, I'm walking down the street. This is just how my life goes, guys. And I'm listening to this audio of a book called Cosmic America, or American Cosmic, I think. And it's a little bit about the UFO phenomena. And the woman is literally saying the word NASA in the audio recording, the audio book. And as she says it, I walk by a store, and I believe it was something like the Bay, or the equivalent of Macy's. And there is a display in the window with the NASA, the space guys, the Apollo rocket guys, aeronautical symbol in the window. And I'm like, she's saying NASA. I'm looking at the window as I walk through Montreal, and there's a NASA emblem in the window at exactly the same time. Now, that doesn't mean anything to me other than I'm in my state of divine flow, and the rest of the day unfolded exactly like that, with one mind-blowing bleed through after another, as if we're in a simulation, like that just really can't happen. But that's how it works in my world. Just before I was going to do this recording, I got a call from one of my clients, and I picked it up, not knowing who I was receiving the call from, because normally I'm on Zoom with my clients. And she and I had a very short discussion about grief and recovery from grief and shock loss, because something she's going through is very difficult. And in my discussion with her, this thing that I'm talking about now, the fusion of divine will and personal will, or the one will becoming apparent, was where the conversation ended. And before she called me, I was going to do a completely different narrative for this video. So the divine intersection of her call with this video recording is exactly the kind of thing that happens in my world, all right? Now, let's talk a little bit about Jupiter being in the bound of Venus on Thursday, which is the bound of the god of money, the god of beauty and art, the god of love and pleasure. I'm going to tell you, this is an Egyptian bound, that it's sitting in at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. And by the way, conjunct the fixed star Antares, one of the 4 royal Persian stars. Now, it's a wide conjunction, 9 to 14, it's 5 degrees away. I'm going to count it. We've got an archangel star Antares, a fixed star, a Persian royal star, kind of casting its light on that Jupiter in the bound of Venus. So love, money, pleasure, and joy highlighted with benefic Jupiter on Thursday. It's not just for Thursday. It's just peaking Thursday. So tap into the well of that juice. Or do you need more money in your life? Do you need more money for something good in your life? Do you need a blessing in your life around money or love or art or beauty, pleasure and relationship? We add to that Juno being conjunct Mars, and they're both in the term or the bound of Saturn on this perfect trine of 14 degrees on Thursday. Well, Saturn brings things into form. We always want to call Saturn like the malefic or the bad guy, but you know, he's a scaffold on which reality is built. This is a time lord, the god Chronos. I mean, time, space, matrix belong to Saturn. So if you want to make anything real and tangible and in your hands, and you can sit on the chair because it doesn't dissolve beneath your butt, that's Saturn. Yes, it's hard work, discipline, devotion, you know, stay with it, stick with it, but it's also just literally the space-time matrix barrier that we live in. And so I'm going to suggest that there's this constellation of power available to you on Thursday to sit with the divine and say, I want to align my will with the highest will. I want to be one with the will that is for me, for my highest glory, and that my highest glory be for the glory of all. And if you could petition that in a prayer to whatever the way, however you see God, as a goddess, as source, as creator, as one's own self, it doesn't really matter. We forget, we think we're here alone, and we're not. We tend to live as isolated little automatons in this matrix, thinking that we have no help from other places. We do. So I'm saying, don't just take this Mars trine Saturn event, which by the way is in a triangle with Chiron, the wounded healer, and Aries, and it's a bit of a wide triangle, but I'm going to call it a grand fire trine anyway. And I'm going to say, fire it up, fire that grand fire trine up. You know, I'm writing a book in my mind called The Key, Chiron, The Key to Your Superpower. And here we have Chiron in Aries at 5 degrees in the bound of Jupiter. Blessings, growth, and expansion in the section of the chart that belongs to Jupiter, within the sign of Aries, at the very same time as this massive, beautiful Mars-Jupiter thing hits us, this trine, 14-degree trine on Thursday. So everybody, my message is simple. Don't just sit around waiting for good stuff to happen on Thursday. I think that because the moon at 7 degrees of Taurus during this precise trine event on Thursday, we'll be moving forward and carrying the good news of whatever happens in the zodiac. I think of the moon as kind of like a traveling messenger. Demetria George gave me that idea, kind of going around like the mailman, checking in with every planet and then connecting to the next planet and giving the news. So because the 7-degree conjunct Uranus moon on the day of the trine is sitting there, as the moon moves forward to connect with that 14-degree Mars, if I use a degree a day solar arc, I'm going to say likely, possibly 7 days after this Thursday, the moon conjunct Uranus, sudden, unexpected good blessings will descend upon you from the energy you put into Thursday, July the 25th. And please adjust, and the exact time of the 8:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, please adjust for your time zone and your location on the globe. Clearly, if you're in Australia, it's going to be a different day than the 25th, so please adjust for your time zone. Okay, so these are my Wake and Dreamer Oracle cards that I made a couple of years ago, maybe 3, donated by many different photographers, and they're not yet out in the world. I don't know if they ever will be. It's a creative project still finding its way through the world. This is a mock-up deck, and I'm going to draw a card for the power we all can access on Thursday, July 25th, 8:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or wherever you live, adjust for that. And what do the cards want to say about this power that's forthcoming? My cards are sticking together. Magic Dawn. Okay, it's a magical new beginning in your life. The job you don't want. I addressed this in my last video. The relationship that has become a tribulation. The life purpose or career, path that no longer makes you feel delight and joy and extraordinary wonderment. Magic Dawn, a magical new beginning. That image was taken by a friend of mine, Daniela, and she's written about it on my website, theawakeneddreamer.com. I think I'll put that down below, theawakeneddreamer.com, and a link to these cards, which are still in development, but you can read about each card and what it means. So, check that out. I'm having a contest coming up soon. It's for my sister's blind faith readings at her tarot business. She's just starting out. She's super psychic. She's younger than me. She's been doing the tarot for a while, learning about it deeply, but she's just plain old straight up clairvoyant, clairaudient, and her website will be blindfaithreadings.com, and her name is Cindy. But when she's ready to go, I'm going to have a contest for 3 people to get 3 free readings with her, because sisters support sisters. End of story. All right, guys, thanks for listening this long, and please like, please subscribe, please share this video with anybody you think might benefit from it. I welcome any feedback, and I do listen to and read all of my comments. So I am open to whatever you have to tell me. And I'm looking forward to building a friendship community here together. You know, it's a new channel for me. I used to be all about weird enlightenment stuff, and now I'm really about more grounding this material of awakened awareness into the world using the celestial language of the stars. Okay, thank you so much. Mwah.